Over 30 years ago, the stars aligned just right in an era of individualism, indulgence, groovy threads, and delicious dance music was formed. The disco phenomenon spread quickly. It was cathartic, communal, regenerative, allowed people freely to express themselves. The rise of disco through America in the 70s, pop culture was meteoric. However, as the decade of the 70s closed, disco's fall was rapid and profound. Disco artists were banned from the airwaves and discotheques became vacant ghost towns. Disco had become a punchline. By the time the infamous disco demolition night occurred at Comiskey Park on July 12, 1979 in Chicago, disco seemed to be on the brink of extinction. As disco seemingly was on its deathbed, losing the nation's pulse, a future disco icon, Jason Manzarek-Baricki, was born. There was a disco ball in his crib. Jason grew his hair long, like 70s heartthrob David Cassidy. In high school, while most students were trying to cut class or attempting to suppress their raging hormones, Jason reignited the disco inferno. Throwing self-funded disco parties, Baricki drew crowds that were larger than the homecoming dance. As his high school days came to an end, it seemed as if disco might die. But a flyer found its way into the hands of college-bound Baricki. The flyer simply stated, "World's largest disco. The event has become a cultural mainstay and disco no longer is a punchline. Disco is back and a purpose has been fulfilled." Through all of these years, there has been one constant, Jason Manzarek-Baricki. This is his story, a lifetime in the making. And welcome. We sit here a couple hours before a disco, and we thought we'd sit down with you and ask you a few questions about your experiences. You've attended 20 consecutive discos, and I think the big question everyone wants asked is why?
The question is why not? 20 years is just the beginning. Every year the enthusiasm grows. Why not do it? If there's something you enjoy, why stop doing it? Someday I'm going to wake up, I'm not going to be able to control this pelvis, I'm going to be pissing myself, but, well, I still can. Why not enjoy?
When was your first disco?
It was in 1994, I remember it vividly like it was yesterday. A young Dave Cassidy coiffed boy walking into the Lion Step.
Now, how would you compare that first disco in 94 to some of the more recent discos you've attended?
I think there's been an evolution. At first, it was a smaller gathering of die-hard fans, approximately 2,000. Today, 8,000 people attend. I would say 90% of them, or 7,200, are staunch disco enthusiasts, while the others, perhaps, need to stay home.
Interesting.
It started several years ago in high school when we held our own disco parties.
I've heard, everyone's heard that you perhaps own over 30 leisure suits. Is that true?
That is an accurate assessment of my collection. I started a vast collection of suits, first by, let's say, borrowing a collection from a young girl and never returning it to her father. But I also went to several Salvation Armies, and I made it a point anytime I left the state that I would go to a Salvation Army.
Besides the suit, what would you say makes an award-winning outfit for the disco?
I think you need detail. You need a medallion, okay? You need the shirt. It's an authentic Joe Namath shirt. You need the pants, you need the shoes, and you even need the underpants. I look 365 days a year for a new suit. Is it a job? Sometimes it feels like it. But the reward, when it comes in the mail and you slip it onto your body and it just feels right, there's no better feeling. No better high.
With all this work that you're putting in looking for suits and clothes, does that leave much time else for, say, a girlfriend or anything?
Well, let's make this clear. I try to look for suits only while I'm at work. So if my boss is watching, it's an accurate assessment that I don't do that much work, and you are correct.
Let's talk about, in your mind, what your proudest moment is over the last 20 years.
Proudest moment, there are several. At the time, my shoes broke. I remember vividly how this shoe broke. You Should Be Dancing came on by the Bee Gees. The repetitive motion of my gyrations could not be handled by these very classic yet ancient shoes that are over 30 years old. That's all I have to say on that topic.
Sometimes you can't save everything. Have you ever taken any PEDs or thought about taking any PEDs to improve your performance at the world's largest disco?
Have I thought about using wigs or other enhancements? Yes. How do you stay on top when you're the best? Hard work? Sure. But as time goes on, you need something else. Luckily at this point, I've been able to do it without PEDs.
Bass.
You never wear the same suit twice. You always have to be striving for something better.
You wear the same outfit every year?
Fuck no! I own over 30 leisure suits. You never wear the same leisure suit more than once. It's bush league if you came to the disco with the same outfit. How dare you ask such a question?
I know.
That is ridiculous. That is offensive.
I was just checking.
And I am
I was
outraged.
making sure of you living.
Tell us about your ejection.
I was afraid that might come up. Unfortunately, there was one disco where I was a little too intoxicated to participate at my normal level. I consumed copious amounts of vodka before the disco and challenged a car to a confrontation on the street. However, I was able to get into the disco, and although I was ultimately ejected, for 45 minutes I gave it my best. I did have to prop myself up on women, which ultimately led to the ejection, but I like to say that might have been my most intense disco. Am I proud of it? No. Would I trade it in? No, because it taught me something. Never to take the disco for granted.
Come some of the work gets kinda hard.
In years past, you've been known to give fiery pep talk speeches to fire everyone up before they go to the disco.
Gentlemen, it's been 12 months. 12 months of preparation. And tonight, it comes to fruition. Tonight, we take one step further to reach the ultimate goal of disco immortality. And I look around me and I see faces that I would trade no one for.
to go into this battle.
Some have felt that parts of your speeches have been crude and offensive.
There's a hot tigress. Approach her. Because if you do not, you will always think what would have happened. Dying in your bed several years from now, would you give every day from now until then for one chance to tell her you can reject my sexual advances, but you can never erase my mental movies?
Marks a special time in my life, 20th anniversary of the world's largest disco. How many 20th anniversaries do you have? Maybe marriage, but by that time it's over. Tonight is a special occasion. There's no stopping you. No means yes, and we don't take no for an answer. There's no wrong. It's only right. Why do we do this? Because it's the disco. It's not what the disco can do for you, but what you can do for the disco!
Disco 2013, 20 in a row.
Do you have a favorite disco song?
Indeed I do. You Should Be Dancing by the Bee Gees.